But a costume based on Dahmer, she says, represents a new hope. Cheryl Crow, 95.5 WSB. It is 7:03.
Breaking news first and accurate at the top and bottom of every hour, every day. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
They seem tough on the outside, but motorcycle riders are soft and squishy on the inside. Hey, it's Eric Von Hessler, and we all share the road. My friends at Steel Horse Law ask you to be aware, slow down, and take an extra moment to look for motorcycles. Bikers, if someone causes you to lay your bike...
Am I supposed to hear it through my headphones now?
back on your feet, medical bills paid, back to work,
Okay.
and your case resolved. Schedule your free accident evaluation at steelhorselaw.com.
We became best friends in middle school. We believe in the same values, taking care of people and doing the right thing, improving lives. It just made sense. We run a business together.
What's up, YouTube? What's up, Bigo? So, you guys are behind the scenes. We are at WSB Radio, 95.5, Word on the Street. Of course, this is also home of WSB TV, Channel 2 News. So, we're getting ready to have a discussion today, of course, about what's going on in our world and politics. So, we'll be getting started in a few minutes. So, you guys are tuned in from my stream, my platform. But of course, make sure you guys come back. Tune in 95.5 Word on the Street with Shelly Winters.
Avocados go with so many dishes, and they're on sale now. Jumbo avocados are 4 for $5.
Are you cold?
Nope.
You fine?
Yeah, I'm good.
If you suffer from ED, Peyronie's, or PE, here's 40-year emergency room doctor encounter. Total Body Therapy of Georgia, Dr. Eric Diaz. There's someone who's
And I'm gonna ask you who you like in the election, and all that stuff. Feel free to say whatever you want.
Okay.
Call Total Body Therapy of Georgia for your free one-on-one evaluation. 404-777-1911. Online at stopmyed.com.
Echo's new dishwashers use one-third the energy and half the water of U.S. standards for dishwashers. And from now until December 31st, you can save up to $200 in gift card rebates on eligible models. Visit Becco.com for more details. That's Becco.com.
The 6 p.m. nonstop news feed. Now with more news, weather, and traffic while you drive home with 95.5 WSB.
And you get the airborne advantage. Doug Turnbull leads triple team traffic every 6 minutes from the WSB Skycopter.
Weeknights at 6 on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Zach Rizzo is in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
And seeing some volume now as you're heading into Midtown on I-85 southbound. So you're right down, that's a past Georgia 400. I drive actually turning up a little bit more emerging I-75 and just a little bit of a ride of brakes up to the I-20. Also keeping an eye on the volume on the Woodside 100. That's on the Ukraine outer loop. As a result of that Transform 25 400 project, using both directions with 3 lanes. The delays particularly affecting the outer loop now approaching Georgia 400. Ultimate such as Johnson Derrick Road. Report is sponsored by Callaway Resort Gardens. Pumpkins at Callaway Resort Gardens is bigger and brighter than ever. Hurry, this Gardens by Day, Grown by Night celebration ends October 30th. Get tickets today at CallawayGardens.com. I'm Zach Wizzle, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Clear and cool for the rest of this evening. Temperatures in the low 60s through 9 p.m. Waking up Tuesday morning in the upper 40s to low 50s.
Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Oh, y'all want to see the whole fit?
Cold front arrives Tuesday evening. It'll usher in heavy rain and thunderstorms, which may produce some isolated damaging wind gusts. Those storms will march through.
I just had to show them my outfit.
Wednesday afternoon, it's cloudy and breezy. Cool, high 68. Staying dry for the rest of this week. 71 degrees in Alpharetta, 73 degrees in Cartersville, and 72 degrees in Stockbridge. More news at 7:30. Breaking news as it happens. I'm Jennifer Griffiths, 95.5 WSB.
Thank you. I don't know if Kwame knows that I'm going live, but y'all can let him know if he live.
Plantation, the 300,000+ people have turned out, a record during a midterm. So where's the lethargy coming from? The people that you need. That's why you have Oprah there. Lethargy is coming from your base. And why is it coming from the base? Because they've left the plantation.
Welcome back after a great weekend. Man, I'm ready to rip this week. This week is going to go by so quick. We have special guests coming in all week long. My first special guest celebrity co-host, my sister, my auntie. I can't call you my auntie because you're younger than me. So my sister, my cousin, my sister from another mother, Miss Angela Stanton King will be joining us tonight.
Wow, man, I am so excited about what's happening today, man. They're getting ready to get the best show ever. Let's do this.
Let's do this, my sister. So before we go into that, I got to tell everybody. So this weekend, Smiling Mark McKay. If you know Smiling Mark McKay, literally he's always smiling, but he's the nicest guy you'd ever want to meet. This guy is one of the nicest guys ever. Always smiling, always happy. He's on our triple team traffic department. You hear him all the time doing the traffic, either in a helicopter or around about. But he is our guy, one of our guys in triple team traffic. So he asked me about a month ago. He said, Shelly, hey, can you judge a talent show? I was like, yeah. It's a month ago. It's easy to tell people yes when something's a month out. So it's easy when you come to me now and say, hey, end of November, can you come to my church and do the offering? Sure. It's easy to say it for something coming up in a far future. So I said yes. Sunday comes. I'm up in Duluth for a great talent show. Revved Up for Kids is a great organization. They work with kids who have been molested and just traumatized. And they work with these kids and they help these kids, and they teach kids who have been sexually attacked and assaulted. They teach them how to defend themselves, how to not put themselves in those positions and things like that. So great organization, Revved Up for Kids. They made about $8,000 at the talent show this past Sunday. I'm a judge. They give me to judge the young people. There's adults and there's young people. They asked me to judge young people. I'm thinking to myself, okay, this will be cool. I'll judge some young people. Then the young people start coming out. They're like 8 years old, 9 years old. And I'm thinking to myself, Angela, how do I judge a kid?
Right.
Like, how do you judge a kid that's singing? Like, do you say, oh, no creativity, oh, no stage presence? They're kids. They're like 8, 9 years old. And then one kid, Walt, shout out to Walt and his family. Walt is autistic. He banged out a version of What a Wonderful World. And I'm like, okay, how do I not give this guy perfect scores?
Right.
You know what I mean? He's got autism and he just banged out What a Wonderful World. And then, so at the end, one of the judges that was with me doing the young people, I was telling him this. And he's a young person. He's like 22. He said, no, it's a talent show. You have to judge everybody fairly. And I'm like, no, I never want to do this again. Like,
Right.
I want to do the adults next time. I don't want to do the kids.
Yeah, because you don't want to kill their confidence,
I don't even see myself giving a kid a bad score if he's 8 or 9 or she's 8 or 9.
That's a tough spot to be in.
Yeah, you're right. And they want you to be honest and everything because they're giving away prizes. The
Right.
kids got like $250, a check for $250, so it's real money. But everyone got the same score to me.
Right.
For me, all the young people, they had to go to the other two judges, Smiling Mark and the young man that was judging. They had to do it because I wasn't. I was a horrible judge. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I probably do the same thing you did, so I'm not mad at you.
Okay, cool. So I got my sister here. We're gonna get right to it. I had to tell that story first. Justice Thomas just blocked just put a stay on the grand jury proceedings for Lindsey Graham. This is huge. Justice Thomas did it by himself. I think it's wonderful. I think it's awesome. And what a flex move on his part to do this. But what I really want to talk about is the fact that this case is even working its way with another case, is working its way through our courts while we're in the middle of a midterm election. And all things being equal, all things taking everything out of it, just the fact that a trial about 2020 election denying and a trial about abortion all working its way through the courts, all with the same judge, McBurney, all on the all in the news right now at the same time, during a midterm election. I want to know your thoughts, my sister.
Well, we know what's going on. We know what Malcolm X said. Malcolm X said, "He who controls the media controls the masses." So we know that there are certain tactics that they use to keep us emotionally charged up when it's time for us to vote. I think that them highlighting these issues is very much pointing the finger at, hey, stand with us, vote against these people, and let's just make sure we keep the emotions of the people in the forefront, because as long as we're focused on our emotions, then none of us are focusing on policy and focusing on what's right. And I'm just kind of getting over politics and getting burnt out, because I mean, ever since I've jumped in the game here, I mean, we see so much. If it's not the Russian collusion, it's the impeachment, it's the January 6th, it's the FBI raid, it's every time you turn around, it's something. But the something always turns into nothing, and everybody is in this emotional distress, and it's like, when are we really going to do what needs to be done for the people of America?
448720750. My sister Angela Stan King. I did not say this because I did not want to, but you ran for Congress. What did you run? Under what party did you run?
I ran for the 5th District as a Republican. I ran against John Lewis, and we know that unfortunately Mr. Lewis passed away, and I ended up running against Nikema Williams, who was a write-in candidate.
And also running the Georgia Democrat Party at the same time, and still does.
Well, absolutely. So you know how that works.
and no one bats an eye.
No one.
Your congressman, your congresswoman is actually the head of your state party at the same time and doing both jobs, and nobody bats, nobody says anything, but we're the frauds.
Right.
So going back to these two cases winding their way through the court. One's an abortion thing. We'll get to that in the next segment. And the other one is this grand jury proceeding. They want Lindsey Graham to testify about his calls to Brad Raffensperger. And we all know what this is about. You alluded to Russian collusion and all of that stuff. But really, what I want to pull out is that how is it that they're doing this? I understand the media part, but how is it that this continues to work is my question. How is it that no one sees Russia was false, impeachment was false, January 6th is garbage, all of this stuff happens, and no one sees it kind of for what it really is, and we keep everybody, whites, blacks, Democrats, we all fall for it constantly, day in and day out. Why do you think that is?
I really wish I had the answer. I mean, we're talking about me, myself personally, in the race that I ran in against a candidate that not only is she head of the state party, but she absolutely refused to debate. How's that even legal? Like, if you refuse to debate your opponent, how do we know that you're going to stand up and debate for us in Congress? When Stacey Abrams said that she was cheated by Governor Kemp, we never stopped hearing about it. But when I say I want to question, and I was a qualified candidate and ran a very clean race, then all of a sudden I'm getting a letter for January 6th. I'm getting letters from
a letter for January 6th?
I absolutely did. And I'm like, this is absolutely insane, because I was nowhere near the Capitol, but this is just a direct attack to take down anyone that's not a part of their agenda and going along with their agenda. And I'm sure you and I are going to get into more of that later on in the show.
So let me ask you a question, because I got Brandon Straka coming on Wednesday night. Brandon Straka, for those of you who don't know, Brandon Straka is going to join me Wednesday night. He's the founder of the Walkaway movement. He spent about a year in solitary, and he never even went into the Capitol. So we're going to be talking to him. So you got a letter from who? District Attorney?
The 116th Congress.
The Congress sent you a letter?
Yes, absolutely. And I was also named. They never called me to subpoena or testify because I never made it anywhere near the Capitol grounds, and there was a video of me actually leaving the rally. When I got up to the front of the rally, I just had a really, really bad feeling, and something said leave. I don't know what it is. That's just say it's discernment or the Spirit of God. And I got out of there, and by the time the insurrection or whatever they want to call it was taking place, I was at BWI Airport looking at everything take place on the news. But the fact that in that letter it stated, right, that we were not to speak about election fraud, it made me say, hey, wait a minute. Right. This is something much bigger. I think that Brandon Straka with the Walkaway movement, he's great. I actually just had him on my show because I have a show every Saturday on TNTradio.live. We're Global Radio, and he was just sharing his experience. And I think what we see happening with Lindsey Graham, what we see happening in the courts, is why I partnered with the Frederick Douglass Institute for the Fannie Lou Project. And so the first week in November, we're going to be all over Atlanta and all counties training people how to become election poll workers and watchers, just because we want honest and fair elections, regardless of who your candidate of choice is. So I also want to encourage everybody to go to AmericanVotersAlliance.org and make sure that you sign up, because we need to get involved.
We do need to get involved on the front end, not on the back end. So you were at the rally on January 6th. Did you speak at the rally?
I did not.
Okay.
I was just in
You're just
attendance.
there.
Right.
It's so funny because I had several people invite me. I almost took a bus up there, but we had to go on the air that night. So we were on the air, I think Aaron was out that week, and we might have been on the air from 4 to 7, I believe. But we were going to be on the air tonight, and that's the only reason, because I would have taken a charter bus up there with a bunch of friends of mine. But none of the people I know, including yourself now, because I did not know you were up there, but none of the people I know ever went into the building.
Nope.
Nobody I know went
And
into
that, and nobody that I know ever went with the intentions of going in the building
Right.
or partaking in an insurrection. I mean, I had heard nothing about it. And when it happened, it was like, to me, I was like, it seemed like some type of setup. I mean, all of this stuff just seemed unreal. And I'm like, are we really,
gonna do
are we in the middle of a spiritual war here? What's going on, America?
448-720-750, 1-800-WSB Talk. We got Angela Stan King, my sister, in with us, sitting in, celebrity guest host. We're going to be talking about everything. Another story, another court case winding its way through the courts. An abortion case, a challenge to the heartbeat bill. Another challenge to the heartbeat bill is sitting in Fulton County. There were testimony today. We're going to get into that next. It's Word on the Street, the hottest party on talk radio. That was good.
95.5 WSB.
News, weather, traffic, and then there's us bringing down a whole thing.
Word on the Street.
720.
That was good. That was good.
Traffic center. Looks like new trouble up in Cherokee County. Seeing delays I-75 northbound. Coming up on before Highway 92, exit 277. Not sure if it considered when for that meantime. Alternate service Highway 21.
Hi, Mom.
Trusting your workers' comp or accident injury case to a mega law firm is like shopping in a warehouse club. You're drowning in these cases with no personal inclusion. You want to speak directly to an attorney and they'll shuffle around. You may never talk to an actual attorney. When you call Pritchard Firm PC, you'll talk directly to me, Brian Pritchard, the legal expert on WSB's Word on the Street. Been hurt at work or on the road? I'll evaluate and give you answers quickly. Search Pritchard Firm and call me today.
Y'all heard me talk about Hip Nation. You already know health insurance is expensive. Use Hip Nation to replace your insurance. Get great health care at a great price. Go get a fast, easy quote for you.
That shooter in St. Louis was black.
Small business is worth it. HipNation.com.
A 19-year-old black kid.
Donate today at CarsForKids.org. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. No title, no problem. Go to CarsForKids.org today. Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate. Orchard makes you a guaranteed cash offer on your home. If your home sells for more than your cash offer from Orchard, you get the upside. Last year, the average Orchard client sold for between $40,000 and $60,000 more than their guaranteed cash offer. Orchard.com.
How Kane turned an avid outdoorsman into a frustrated indoorsman. Meet Ron.
I was always active. Fishing, swimming, hiking.
Until his flat feet brought it all to a grinding halt.
It is shot pain shooting
What you think about the reports coming out saying Candace Owens is gonna sue George Floyd's family for distress?
I haven't heard that. She's crazy. Well, let's save it. I'll tell you my thoughts. If you bring it up, and I'll tell you my thoughts. Actually, you know what? We'll do the abortion thing at 36 because that's a longer segment.
Okay.
So depending on how long, let me see how long it is because this is a short segment. How long are we having this segment?
Stop by the Good Feed store in Sandy Springs, Kennesaw, Alpharetta, Newnan, or Mall of Georgia for
About 40 seconds.
Yeah, so I'll just tease coming up. I'll tease what's coming up. And I'll mention, you got some Candace Owens news. Y'all get along? No, I wouldn't think so. You too. You kind of too much of a sister. Too much of a sister. My biggest complaint about her is if your job is to talk to people that are not Republican or not independent or whatever the case may be, if your job is to talk to Democrats and convince them that this is a better way, then do that. But if your job is only making money just telling people that are already on your side to corroborate their own thoughts, then Sally, you're doing that. But, just do something, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like every time something happens, even like George Floyd, my opinion on George Floyd back then when it happened, my biggest opinion on it was white Republicans are seeing what's going on and they're starting to come around to criminal justice reform, to reform in police. So let's just chill. There's no reason to say much more. When the president says something and Hannity says something and Tucker says something, there's no reason to say anything more.
Yep.
Then she comes out with the other stuff and I'm like, where did that come from?
And the thing about it is, well, I'll save my comment for.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Gotcha.
He knows we're live.
Oh, we live.
This behind the scenes exclusive.
Behind the tell them that. The conversations behind the scenes are usually better than the ones on
Right.
Not for this show though, y'all.
I can give you an extra 25 seconds by moving something, so you got about a minute 20. So get out at 27:50.
With all that's happening in the markets and the economy, the offer comes at a perfect time. Your experienced Edelman Financial Engine's Wealth Planner will suggest a portfolio using our investment management approach. It's based on our Nobel Prize winning research. Don't miss out. Call 833-PLAN-EFE by tomorrow at 10 p.m. for this complimentary offer. That's 833-PLAN-EFE or visit EdelmanFinancialEngines.com. That's EdelmanFinancialEngines.com.
The hottest party on talk radio. It's word on the street. My sister Milani Kai is on a mission trip to Kenya. So she'll be back next Monday. So please, as I've been saying since last week, pray for safe travels and safe return for our sister Milani Kai is doing a Kenyan mission trip. Have you ever been on a mission trip? My co-host, guest celebrity co-host.
I have not,
You
but
have
I'm
not?
planning to go on one very soon.
Okay, because I was going to ask you what they're like. When we come back, I want to talk to you about this bench trial that just started about the heartbeat bill here on abortion. Now, as far as I'm concerned, the Supreme Court, they made a ruling. Now you're going after the bill that kind of already seems to be constitutionally okay, but you're doing it in the middle of the midterms. And you know it's going to create news. So let's talk about that when we come back, my sister. 404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB-TALK. It's word on the street. Some people, I don't know who it is, Greg, some people call us the most politically influential talk radio show in the country.
Wow.
Other people call us the hottest party on talk radio.
Uh-oh.
You hear our bumper music. That's DJ Greg. Did I introduce you to DJ Greg?
Yep. I met DJ Greg.
Our live DJ. 44872-0750, 1-800-WSB Talk is Shelley Winter, my celebrity co-host, Miss Angela Stan King, DJ Greg P on the Wheels of Steel. Coming back, abortion talk, this fraudulent bench trial.
My viewers, they talking about another commercial.
So we'll be, so this will be like a news and a commercial. So you can keep talking to your folks. On these breaks, I usually go smoke a cigarette.
Oh, okay, a cigarette break.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before cold weather arrives. I
Well,
love
you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta do
I'll
what
be
you gotta
right
do.
back. Y'all be all right? Y'all want water or something?
Yeah, what time are you and I rapping? Because I know I don't stay till 10. What time are you and I rapping?
Whatever time you want to. What time you want to wrap? About 8, 8:30?
When we get through with the abortion.
At 8? Cool. Let's take, so I'm going to let you do most of the talking on this.
Okay, perfect.
All right, all
That
right.
works.
I'm going to give you the whole 15 minutes.
All right, let's do it.
I mean, I'm going to ask questions, but, you know, it's going to be
Of
most
course. Yeah.
of it. Cool.
Yeah, we can do about 8:45.
Hey, y'all.
8:50. Y'all see Shelly?
Go on for a cigarette break.
Ragsdale Heating, Air, Plumbing, and Electric. Schedule your visit online at ragsdalegear.com or call one of their friendly customer service reps. Ragsdale and Carrier. Turn to the expert.
Guys, for those of you with a
So I guess my comments about the Candace Owens things with her suing George Floyd family and stuff, it's like her whole thing was about exposing Black Lives Matter. And Black Lives Matter, it was more than just about George Floyd. Like you talking about them using Sandra Bland, Trayvon Martin, Tamir Rice, Freddie Graves. You know, Black Lives Matter wasn't just about George Floyd. Why is the whole attack on George Floyd? I don't get that. Is this about exposing Black Lives Matter to be a fraud? Or is this about the George Floyd case? Which one is it? That's my question. If it's about exposing Black Lives Matter, let's do that. We can expose Black Lives Matter and who they are without attacking it, especially now the family. After the man passed and gone on, like that's just too much.
Weather
Traffic.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
at 7:30. I'm Jennifer Griffiths. Our top story: Justice Clarence Thomas temporarily blocks an order to keep South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham from testifying before a Fulton County special jury.
The decision comes after the
Uh-oh.
11th U.S. Circuit Graham's appeal from having to testify before the court interference by former President Donald Trump in the 2020 election results. Specifically, prosecutors are looking at phone calls made between Graham and Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, something the senator says was part of his legislative investigation.
No, BNM didn't start from George. BNM was started before George.
Plea to quash the subpoena to testify. Sandra Parrish, 95.5 WSB.
Jurors have gone home for the day in the trial of Clayton County Sheriff Victor Hill. Channel 2's Brian Mims reports they are debating whether Hill violated inmates' civil rights by putting them in restraint chairs as punishment. The jury have reached a verdict on 2 of the 7
Victor
counts,
Hill.
but they're deadlocked on 5.
The judge gave jurors an Allen charge, meaning they must continue to deliberate and try to reach a unanimous decision. They must decide whether Sheriff Victor Hill violated these jail detainees' civil rights.
Deliberations will resume in the morning. There is a recall of some drugs.
They're saying Victor Hill
WSB health
was
reporters
chaining people to the chair to punish them and putting them in that strip chair.
The owner of brands like Dove, Nexus, and Swab issuing a voluntary recall of products due to potentially elevated levels of benzene.
Then you got Kim Kardashian speaking out against Kanye's anti-Semitic post or whatever, and she's saying she condemned hate speech, but you advocated to free gangster rappers from prison.
Right.
So if your husband says something that they want to deem as hate, he need to be silenced. But you can free all of the gangster rappers that's out here telling us to kill each other and rob.
Bring all of that up in this 14-minute segment. What I'm gonna do when we come in, I'm gonna ask you. I heard about. I'm just gonna say I heard some things about Candace Owens and the family of George Floyd. Can you fill me in on what's going on with that? You say your piece about Candace, and then we'll go to this abortion trial. Oh, I forgot. I forgot. We're supposed to do a tease at 32. That's why I came back.
Oh, huh.
I forgot.
Speak up, speak out, and let your voice be heard. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
I tell you what, friends, with
That the Kanye West thing, I talked about it on Friday. He's got some clips. We might talk about it after you go. But the funny thing about that whole thing is where do we get to the point where we can't say, like,
Freedom of speech.
right, but I'm saying, but to, like, Ari Emanuel is cutting him from CAA and telling everybody who's working with him, don't work with him.
Yep.
And I'm thinking to myself, wow, wait a minute. So you really do have this power. Like if
Right.
if I'm just standing back and not paying attention, I'm like, well, he said this and then this happened to him, so
You gotta be telling the
you
truth.
got to be telling the truth. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that in any kind of derogatory way, but you're kind of proving his point.
Yep, that's
You know?
exactly what they're doing.
With that aim, learn how the regenerative medicine can give you your life back with no drugs, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation.
Yet and still, for the last 40 years, since C. Dolores Tucker and Shahrazad Ali, for the last 40 years, this country has allowed people to say anything
About black people.
about black people.
That's right. And get away with it.
And get away with
In
it.
fact, you can't even get a hit record unless you're telling black people to kill each other
Right,
or have an abortion.
right, or have an abortion, right. Oh, you want to talk about Stacey Abrams?
Of course,
Wrap it up
we was
into
gonna
your-
bring that into that. Yep.
Yeah.
My grandmother was like a queen to us. At Morgan & Morgan, our goal is to level the playing field for you and your family in your time of need. The insurance company has unlimited money and resources. You need a firm who can fight them toe to toe. For right at 30 years, we have fought them in courtrooms throughout America.
How's your family? Everybody doing good?
Yep, everybody's doing good. Thanks for asking.
No problem.
Everybody is a somebody, and nobody is a nobody. Visit forthepeople.com to learn about our firm, Morgan & Morgan. For the people. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Shelly, Matthew Perry looks bad in that interview. Look how bad he looks.
And doesn't toe any
Ooh.
party line.
That is a man who addiction has worn him out.
But it's a great story, a comeback story. It's a great comeback story.
Zach Rizzo is in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Keeping eyes now on a crash up in Cherokee County. That's I-75 northbound, a little bit before Highway 92.
They brakes are long as hell.
Also keeping eyes on what looks to be a stalled vehicle now. I-35 southbound towards Langford Parkway. No sign of any significant delays. This report is sponsored by Discover. Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount, any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply. I'm Zach Rizzo, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards.
If y'all play one more commercial.
One more is coming up at 36. It's a couple things. The show is popular, but also so many political ads are running, so they move everything, all our stuff into out.
Shout out to Big Louie. Thank you for the beans.
Multitasking.
I see.
Marietta, 64 degrees in Peachtree City and 63 degrees in Winder. More news at 8 o'clock. Breaking news.
They said the sponsor is paying the bills. That's right. And you know that. Let's get it.
That'd be hard. They're playing Onyx?
The hottest party on Talk Radio. Greg, you just starting us off slow tonight? Is that what you're doing with our music?
Okay. That's hard.
Okay, all right. See, he knows everything. DJ Greg P, the only live DJ on Talk Radio. We actually have a live DJ on the ones and twos every night from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. So please check us out. Angela Stan King, my celebrity guest co-host. We're going to be doing this all week. Different people coming in and joining Word on the Street while my sister's away doing the Lord's work in Kenya.
Yep.
So before we go any further, I heard some rumors about Miss Candace Owens and the George Floyd family. Can you fill us in on that?
Well, I basically heard some rumors too, and I saw a post today that said that Candace Owens suggested in her podcast that she should sue George Floyd's family, I guess, for emotional distress. And I think that, you know, I'm in agreement with exposing Black Lives Matter, the organization, but not trying to do away with the entire movement. I know a lot of Republicans like you and myself that can say two things are true. We can say, yes, he was high, and yes, the police officers did kill him, and what they did was absolutely wrong, and they should be held accountable. if exposing Black Lives Matter, the organization, is about exposing the Black Lives Matter, the organization, how did the focus become George Floyd? Because George Floyd is just one name of many. And so if Candace's stance is that Black Lives Matter has exploited, you know, the emotions of Black people and the George Floyd family to get money, I mean, is she doing the actually same thing, right?
Absolutely she is.
And so I think that, you know, right before elections, I think that we need to be calling for unity and not, you know, fueling the flames of racism, right? Because it seems like it just brings up a lot of emotions in everybody and it tears us apart once again.
When you say unity, what are you talking about the whole entire country, or are you talking about Republicans?
I'm talking about the whole entire country because,
gotcha.
I mean, right now it seems like we're so divided. I mean, you got Republicans, but if you're Republicans, you're racist, or all white officers are racist, all Republicans are racist. You're dealing with critical race theory. Everything is about white or black. And we need to be focusing on trying to bring us together as a people because we got some bigger things that we need to worry about.
Absolutely. And when the aliens come, we'll recognize that we're all the same.
Are they already here? Because I saw Katy Perry malfunctioning last night, so I don't know.
Right. And that's to Angela's point about, aren't you now exploiting the family the same way in which Black Lives Matter did?
And it's about the organization, right? It's not necessarily about George Floyd. It's about the organization because that case has been tried and gone already, and people are trying to heal and move on. And it's just like reopening a wound that's trying to heal, and I think we should move forward.
Absolutely.
Yep. I don't know what that does for unity, but whatever.
Right. So this bench trial, the states recently enacted, I'm reading from the article, enacted abortion restrictions. They have a bench trial. Judge McBurney, again, man, this guy's so popular down there. You know, if I didn't watch Law and Order, I wouldn't know that prosecutors could pick judges. Oh, did I say that? I'm sorry. So tell me about this trial and why do you think it's going on? And is it right?
I mean, you're going to have to bring me up to date all the way on what's going on exactly in the trial before I can give you my full response.
HB 481 is known as a heartbeat bill.
Right.
You know that.
Of course.
So the Democrats have brought it back to sue to say that it's wrong, it's unconstitutional, it cannot stay. They've been trying, and they were waiting to see what happened with the Supreme Court. And so the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. So now they're saying, okay, so our heartbeat bill went into play when Roe v. Wade was overturned.
You know what I think? You know what I think would be a great solution to this is that we focus on preventative measures the same way that we are focusing on abortion. If we put funding and all of our focus into preventing pregnancy, then abortion won't be such a big issue, right? Because if we don't create the life, then we don't have to end the life. And I'm just thinking like, you know, when we think about our great civil rights leaders and the things that they fought for, nobody was fighting for the right to execute the next generation, right? If we're the ancestors of today, you mean to tell me that our fight is executing our own seeds, our own children, executing our own future? I think that we need to have a different outlook on this because the bottom line is that all of us are here because our mothers get pregnant. It is a process of life. And until we begin to value life, right, then we won't see a difference or things happening in this country. And the fact that the Democrats are so sold on wanting to push abortion, well, why aren't there any abortion clinics at the border? Because all of the abortion clinics are in the Black minority neighborhoods. And you're not doing me a favor by paying me to abort my child or paying for my child to be aborted or driving me to the abortion clinic. But you can do me a favor by empowering my life, by giving me financial literacy, by enhancing the lives of the children that we bring into the world, and not by executing them. Pregnancy can be prevented.
Very easily, I'm told. I learned in biology class. I think, well, maybe it's changed since I've gotten older, but it can be.
Hey, if you ask me, all of this and this is my opinion, and people can call it what they want, but I really honestly believe that these are depopulation tactics. The fact that we know Joe Biden told us, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black, right? And Kamala Harris said, we did it, Joe. Ice Cube was waiting on a meeting with Joe Biden. He still hadn't got it, but we have transgender Dylan Mulvaney, who identifies as a young girl, on the interview with Joe Biden asking him, hey, what are we going to do for gender affirming care? Gender affirming care is nothing any of us ever asked for. We didn't ask for it for our children, but we are dealing with a black maternal health crisis. If you go to the whitehouse.gov right now, it's up. It says that black women are 3 times likely to die compared to white women birthing their children, regardless of their income or education, which is very, very alarming and racist in itself. But however, if we're dying as black women giving birth to our children, and then the black babies are being aborted, and then the black sons and daughter are being sexually transitioned before they even realize who they are, what does that mean for life, or in particularly black life? And why are so many people willing to go along and get along, like my boy Kwame Brown say, just to say what? We're loyal to a party, but we're voting against our own interests and voting against the origin of family?
That was the golden nugget that I was waiting for. There it is, my sister. God bless you. I've been saying it. We all been saying it. Somehow, what you just said, right, makes so much sense to me. I've heard it different ways, never that concise, never that clear, right? I agree with it entirely. However, when we say these things, and others like Kwame Brown, like a Charleston White, like a Candace Owens in many cases, like a Janelle King who's going to be with me on Wednesday, when we say these things, and Herschel and Kelvin King who ran for office, and you who ran for office, when we say these things, somehow we become the outliers. Somehow we become the people that, you don't know what you're talking about, you're so wrong.
Conspiracy theorists. I mean, listen, here's the thing. And I hate to break it to anyone, but common sense is a real thing. Having an abortion does not stop you from birthing a baby. I mean, and we are dealing with policies right now as radical as abortion on demand up until the moment of birth. Who carries a baby to 9 months and then all of a sudden decides that they want to birth it? Having an abortion does not stop you from going through the birthing process. The baby has to leave your body. So you're either going to give birth to something alive or you're going to give birth to something dead. And having an abortion does not make you not be a parent. It just makes you a parent of a deceased baby, and we never ever forget. And I just cannot believe that right now today, our civil rights, what we went to fighting to be free, fighting against oppression, fighting against segregation, is now all rolled into giving our children a right to sexually transition and aborting our babies. We got to wake up and say, you know what? It's time that we stop being loyal to a party and be loyal to our people. This upcoming election, and I'm not saying anybody is perfect. Warnock isn't perfect. Herschel isn't perfect either. But we are not voting for people. We need to vote for policy. And that's how our community has fell behind, because instead of us voting for policy, we've been voting for people. And that's where we got it wrong.
Angela Stanton King, you guys. I want to ask you this. You brought up the names. I had an event with Governor Kemp with about 60 black men to tell you how the narratives are written. There were 60 men, 60 plus men if you included King Randall School and his boys that were there. The New York Times, the article for the New York Times, and I love Maya, she's a great girl, great writer, great girl, I didn't mean to say girl, great woman, great writer, very beautiful sister, very brilliant sister. But the way you know how she counted the people? She said more than 3 dozen. That's actually what the article wrote about my event with black men and Brian Kemp. More than 3 dozen. And I'm thinking to myself, what does that even mean? And not only that, who talks like that?
Listen,
you know,
I'm so grateful for your show, Shelly. I'm so grateful for the work that you do and put into our community. Our community has to wake up and realize that right now, while we are still trying to get over the tragedy of the shooting that took place in Buffalo, New York, with 10 of our elders being shot dead, the tragedy of what took place in South Carolina with our elders being shot dead while at church, the Democrats, the party that is supposed to be representing us, the party of the people, they are introducing House Resolution 1209, the Transgender Bill of Rights. And what they are doing is completely changing and amending the Civil Rights Act of 1964. They are taking our civil rights movement and rolling it over into LGBTQ, all things transgender and non-binary. And I have nothing against anybody from that community. My own child is a part of that community. However, why are we now, when it comes to identity, everything is about identity politics? We're going to vote because we're gay. We're going to vote because we're non-binary. Why don't we vote to be free?
My sister, I got to ask before we let you go. I got to ask this question. Who are you going to vote for? I'm going to run down the different offices. Is that right?
Go ahead.
Yeah. It's all right. It's all right. All right, let's start at the top. Herschel Warnock.
Now, let me say this before we go. I want people to know I'm voting for policy, okay?
Policy.
Walker.
Okay. Kemp Abrams.
Oh, after Stacey Abrams was at the lotto, pop your pussy, drop it hot. Uh-oh, I'm sorry. Did we bleep? pop it and drop it like it's hot after and holding up the abortion signs. I definitely have to vote for Governor Kemp. I think that black women deserve more than abortion, and Stacey Abrams' whole campaign has been strictly about abortion.
Let's go down the ticket. Brad Raffensperger, B. Win.
Oh, I'm going to have to go with Win. I don't like the way Raffensperger handled the whole situation with the elections.
All right. That's fascinating. Chris Carr, Attorney General Chris Carr, Charlie Bailey.
I'm not sure on that one.
Okay.
I'm going to hold my peace.
And that's the last one is Burt Jones, Secretary, what is it? What is that? What is it? What's it called? What's it? Lieutenant Governor, thank you. I got Secretary of State in my head. Thank you, Greg. Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones versus, I don't even know who the Democrat candidate is.
Burt Jones, of course. And, excuse me, this is all about policy for me, and not about the people, but about policy. And the policy is that we need to protect our children. We need to protect our children, what they're being taught in education. We need to protect our communities. We need to protect our babies. And we need to, instead of sending billions of dollars over to Ukraine, we need to put that money into our own communities and make America great again.
That being said, 2024, are you back did you ever step off the train? Or are you still on Trump train?
Woo, well, you put me on the spot, but I gotta tell the truth and shame the devil. You guys know Trump is my guy. Like,
Right.
I don't have any issues with Trump. Anytime I was invited to the White House, he listened. Anytime I brought up an initiative, he acted on it. He feed plenty of black people from prison. I don't have an issue with Trump. If Trump runs in 2024, absolutely, because I know what that means for us, and I know what I'm going to go in there and do.
Angela Stanton King, where can people see you on Saturdays? Where do you?
Guys, I am on TNT Radio Live, America's Living Room with Angela Stanton King each and every Saturday from 10 to 12. You guys can follow me on Instagram at AskTVShow, or you can visit my website. We just acquired a property in the Kings District. We are remodeling it and turning it into a 9-bedroom, 9-bath oasis maternity home for pregnant women. So we are doing something about the black maternal health crisis. You all can visit AuntieAngie'sHouse.com.
My sister, God bless you.
I'm sorry. You know they call cats pussies all the time, so I don't be knowing which one is good or which one is, I don't know.
Where did you park? Upstairs?
Yeah, we gotta go up the ramp and stuff like that.
Yeah, 5 flights.
I hope I get invited again, y'all. I had these people. They dropping it.
He dropped it.
Okay, good. Well, that's his job.
Right.
That's what he's supposed to. I gotta keep you sharp on your feet, buddy. All right, let's go. All right, y'all, we're done. That's a wrap. I'm going to eat. Bye.